Hey guys, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I just wanted to clarify some things about the research paper. I've had some conversations with a few students in Google Meeting and have been looking somewhat at the brainstorms. I haven't graded them yet because I just wanted to clarify what this research paper is looking for. So if we look at the prompt, choose a field of study topic that interests you and identify a problem related to this field and then come up with an approach to solve it. So what that means is I want you to choose an area that interests you, whether that's, some kind of science or social things or psychological things or business practice, whatever it may be. And in that field, you're going to do research, and that research is going to help you develop your thesis. Meaning you don't want to come up with your thesis and then find research that fits it, because that is what we call manipulating information. So the research should guide what your thesis is going to be. So your thesis may change as you're doing your research, but there does need to be a thesis. And I'm pointing this out because the biggest problem, even with some of the last papers, is you get all this information and what you end up doing is writing an information paper. Sorry. And you're still writing an argument and you're just using the research to help you prove your argument. So the paper would look something like this. People's are going to look different. They're going to be different lengths. They're going to have different amount of paragraphs. Order is going to be different potentially, but you're going to identify a problem. So say it was something in the music industry. Okay, say you wanted to do something about the music industry and you're identifying something that's wrong with the music industry today, whether that's how labels work, whether that's how streaming platforms have changed it and that's messing something up. It could be anything. So then you have that and you're doing your research. The beginning is going to be defining the problem. So that may take one paragraph, that may take 3 paragraphs. But the beginning of your paper is going to be proving that the problem you're saying is a problem is a problem. So you'll talk about that problem and then you'll use research to support that it is a problem. Then you'll go on to talk about what current things are already in place to solve that problem. So in this case, people can't download the music for free. If you wanted to talk about like streaming platforms or that merchandise, how that's being sold, things like that. And you would start talking about, the laws that are in place or the practices or things that people are trying to do to prevent copyright or to make sure that musicians are getting exposure, whatever your thing is. And you would start talking about all the things that are already in place that are trying to deal with this problem. And then you would spend time talking about how they're not working and why they're not working. And these will be your ideas, and you would support that with other research. Then you would talk about solutions you think would fix it that aren't currently happening. This doesn't mean that everything has to be a completely original idea. It could be a combination of things, like if we did this and we did this, but then we added this element, that would solve that. So you would be coming up with solutions to it. This may be one big solution, this may be a few small solutions, and then you would spend time in your paper talking about what those solutions are, why you think they would work, and have research supporting why you think it would work. Then you would want an opposition paragraph. And the opposition paragraph, which you learned a little bit about in that kind of webinar thing that we had in like week 5 maybe. And some people I think tried to do it in their essay 1, but then what they ended up doing is just contradicting yourself. An opposition paragraph doesn't present the other side of the argument and just say, but there's these things, and then walk away. An opposition paragraph thinks, okay, so these are my solutions to whatever the problem is I picked. What could be some arguments against why they won't work? And you think about that. And you don't have to do every single one of them, but you think about maybe what the main one or the main 2 would be. And you bring them up in a paragraph, but then you show why they're wrong. That makes sense. So if somebody was like, well, that's not financially possible, and that's going to be a big argument against whatever your solution is, you would say, you'd bring up, some people may consider this fiscally impossible, but here's my argument on why it's not. Here's how I can disprove their argument to try and disprove my argument. That's what an opposition paper is. It's recognizing other people's arguments and addressing them to make your argument stronger. And then you would wrap it up in your conclusion. So it's a multi-layered thing. It's got a logical order to it. Your order may change somewhat. That's what outlines are for. And you may spend more time on your solution than somebody else does. They may spend more time on showing why the current things aren't working in their paper. Everybody's paper is not going to look the same. I don't give page requirements or word count requirements because it's a bad habit. It causes people to get repetitive, but you do need to develop your ideas thoroughly. So a good rule of thumb I give to people is on your essay 1, if you didn't have a lot of development aspects to it, if I didn't say develop, your research paper should be about twice the length of your essay 1. It's not a hard rule. It may be longer than that, especially if your first essay was really short. It may be slightly shorter than double the length. It's going to depend on the paper, but just for your thinking, because you're going to have all your thoughts, and then you're going to have all your research, and you're dealing with a bigger subject matter, okay? So it would look like your introduction and your thesis, background about the problem, what is the problem or problems, why do they exist, what are the consequences of them, what are they doing, what's currently already trying to fix these problems, why aren't those things working, what is your idea to fix the problems, why will yours work, what can people argue against you, how can you answer their arguments, conclusion. I hope that helps to some extent, clarifying that. It just seemed easier for me to explain it in a video than to try and write all of that out. But if you're still having questions about the prompt, please put them in the help form or something like that. I'm also going to try and set up a large group meeting for the end of the week where I can help some people with citation issues a lot of people are struggling with, and maybe discuss any problems with the paper that they're having. So it'll be kind of like a, what's that word? Town meeting of sorts for the class, so that we can just discuss some things and troubleshoot some things. It won't be a required session. It will just be there for people who want to attend. Make sure when you're doing your research that you are keeping track of all of your sources. I suggest opening a note or a document and copy and pasting every single link that you're looking at. Even if you're not going to use it, if you're looking at it, copy and paste it into that file. Maybe put a note to yourself about what it is. This helps you from accidentally plagiarizing. It helps you to be able to find something that you were like, oh, what was that thing that I was looking at? I actually need that now, and not having to relook for it. And remember, your thesis may change. If you are arguing something and then you find a bunch of research that goes against that, you may need to adjust your thesis, either slightly or majorly, to fit the actual information. So hopefully that helped. Don't be scared to ask questions. I'm trying to catch up. Correcting these packets is taking a really long time. So I'm going through those, trying to get those done for today. You can resubmit your brainstorming after watching this. You should be able to submit multiple times for that, but if you're having trouble, just let me know. I'll make sure that it's open. Anything involving the paper, it should have multi-submissions. So that is our main focus. It's the biggest part of your grade, so we want to make sure that everybody is doing the best that they can on that. All right, that's it, I guess. Let me know if anything else comes up, and hopefully that was clear. Have a good rest of your day.